Welcome to this mini-series, again a two-part mini-series, talking about panning of scenery. All that and much more, coming up. In this episode I will be talking about panning of scenery. In the next episode talking about time-lapse panning and panning while time-lapsing the footage. Now specifically in this one I would like to talk about probably three main aspects. One of which being how you pan, what you pan and when you pan. Now the when you pan I'll touch on first. Now in photography alone, when you are trying to look for a shot and specifically trying to take a photo, you will try to look for a shot depending on obviously your style and how you would like to manage that. The minimalistic background noise of a photo, so minimalistic people, other objects that aren't fundamental to the actual quality of the photo and to the meaning of the picture, and you will try to eliminate that. And with video, it is the same. So when you're trying to pan, for example, you're at the top of a hill, let's just say. You're trying to pan around. Now, some people, a lot of people are using like 360 gear cameras to get a 360 gear view. Really, I mean, you know, you don't need that. The quality's distorted. It's a bit strange, to be honest, and you don't need that. But for a simple pan for either a vlog or even a movie, documentary, show, whatever you want, it's good to just check your surroundings first and then just kind of slowly pan across, try to keep the camera steady, and as I said, minimalistic background noise with any people crossing the photo, any animals, any wildlife of any kind, and just trying to keep it as simple as possible. And that's basically the main basics for when you're trying to shoot it. Now, if you're trying to pan with subjects in the shot, so if you're trying to get a view of somebody stood in amongst a crowd, or if you're vlogging and you're filming somebody or people, or trying to get a focus on them, always make sure that they are focused before you start panning, preferable before starting. I mean, obviously depending on the situation, if it's like a celebrity or anything fast moving, a lot of action, very fast paced, it can be difficult to do. But you always want to make sure that everything's in focus first, because once you start panning and everything starts refocusing, your focal point will change, and then it will go from one point being focused and the background being blurred to the background being in focus and the foreground being blurred, and it just all looks very strange either when sped up or slowed down. Now, as I said, in the next episode I'll be talking specifically about time-lapsing, but even without time-lapsing a piece of footage, you can speed it up or slow it down to try and fit a guideline of time, or even just to make it look more smooth or cinematic. And specifically cinematics is how panning is used, and the basic sort of scenery panning in a movie, so when you have people in a room and they're talking to each other and the camera's sort of moving up and down or looking at what they're eating, it's called panning, but it's not really panning when you're talking about vlogging or movies doesn't tend to be the room average shots. It's more getting out and about and showing a lot of things in one. So as I was using the example before, you know, at the top of a hill, you have a lot of scenery around, or if you're in a city and you're moving around trying to show the sheer scale of things, or even lack of scale if something's really small, or again if you're at the top of the hill and just nothingness, or stood in the middle of nowhere. There's lots of examples of how it can be used, but that's how I tend to think of it more than just being in a room and a camera moving a little bit to the left, right, up or down. But one of the most famous vloggers for panning and cinematics is Peter McKinnon, and his use of panning I found quite fascinating, because he uses this very strange technique, which you probably will get a lot of strange looks for if you do, but I have tried it out quite a few times and it does work. If you're trying to pan and you can't get a clear focus and you're trying to get that focal point without falling over, you almost got to force yourself to fall over. Or even if you just want a cinematic pan straight up or straight down, you kind of hold the camera and you lean back with one foot slightly further back than the other, and you just wait for yourself to start dropping, and then you catch yourself. And there's maybe 2, 3, even 4 seconds of footage of when you're falling, depending on the speed, and it could be sped up or slowed down, depending on your time barrier. Can be very useful for what you want it for, very effective, and very cinematic because of the slow movement of your body. And that can be either up, down, or whatever, figure it out for yourself. But it can be quite effective, and especially for cinematics, that's very handy. And I can guarantee you will get a lot of strange looks. But as I was saying, with focal points, that can be very useful, because when you're trying to get a photo or anything like that, I even use that for photos, because if you're trying to focus on something and it's just not focusing, and you're trying to lean back or go forward and you keep like falling over, just do the slight pan, and either set your camera to a very fast shutter speed and just keep taking photos until you get the right one, or you just set a slow one, and whenever you see it get to that strike point where you know you're going to fall over if you do it stood up or at an awkward angle or whatever, you just fall backwards and take the picture as you're falling. And I have actually got some very strange, blurry, ghostly photos from doing that in the past. And it is a very effective technique. So I think that covers most of the points for panning scenery and for photography for this episode. And in the next episode, I will be talking more about the time-lapse center for panning of scenery. So hope you guys enjoyed, and be glad to welcome you back for the next episode next week. See you guys then. My name's been coolcat, and goodbye.